Hello my fellow readers. In this video I'm going to talk about Collette Decides to Die, or at least part of the series. So this is volume 1 and volume 2, however volume 1 and volume 2 in this release are really volumes 1 and 2 and volumes 3 and 4. So there you go. Essentially, I'm just going to get right into it. I don't even know if I'll read the synopsis. I'll just tell you about it. In this series, Collette is an apothecary and she works very hard. She's the only one that is in her little village, and she's disturbed like day and night to help people, and she gets exhausted. And so one day she's just in her exhausted state, and she's at her well, and she thinks about how wells, like I think she feels a breeze from it, and she's like, wells can be a pathway to another world. And I didn't know that was like a thing. I mean, I remember obviously Inuyasha and Kagome went through the well to go back in time, but I didn't know, is that like a thing? So anyway, I didn't realize that, but it was kind of fun that she says that. She ends up falling into the well, and she does end up in a different world. She ends up in the underworld, and she meets Hades and his attendants, I guess you would call them. It's kind of funny. When she first wakes up, she is in like this cell. Bars on the wall, on the door, like bars for doors and whatever, all that jazz. And the little assistants, they all look like skeletons. They have like skeleton faces and big black robes, and they're expecting her to be kind of like freaked out. And really, she's very excited because she gets a break and she doesn't have to do all of the apothecary work that has been exhausting her, and it's just really funny. They end up bringing her to Hades, and it turns out that Hades needs some help. He went out into the sun, and he hasn't been in the sun in a long time, and so he actually has this rash from the sun, and so she makes a treatment for him and starts treating him, and then she goes back, and of course that's not that simple. So what ends up happening throughout like this first part of the series anyways, Collette goes back and forth between meeting with Hades, especially in the first one. She's still like treating him, so she goes back to make sure that he's still getting the treatment for his hives, his little breakout, and then going back to her place to do work. But she does also, I mean, just have a lot of run-ins. She ends up getting, I think before the end of the first one, there's two like little twins that end up, they're not little, they're like teens with her as well. But they end up getting trained to be apothecaries as well, so it's a little bit better. But you can guess, because it brings in Hades, there's also a lot of the other Greek mythology that's being brought into it. So we do get to meet Zeus, and then in the second volume, which again is volumes 3 and 4, we get to see more of the divine realm, and I didn't expect it to be like that. I just saw the title and the cover, okay? I know, and I just decided to try it. So I had no idea it tied in Greek mythology. Of course, I'm very excited about that because I really love Greco-Roman mythology. It was something that I always liked from the time that I was very young, and so it was exciting to see that twist in it. I always like to see also what, especially like Japanese authors, put into the mythology, because they of course have their own systems of belief and with different gods and goddesses. So it's fascinating to see how they're going to depict these characters. And so far so good. It's always interesting when Hades is a character, because we all know with like Greek storyline, that means usually Persephone. But a lot of times with the Japanese ones, the main character, in this case Collette, will become like the main love interest. And so then you're like, where are the other characters? Like I said, we have met Zeus. We do see Poseidon in the background in a couple of like the backstory chapters where it's decided about who gets which realm and rule of it. And Zeus was a cheater. We do see that. We see Demeter, but more on like a friendly term with Hades. So that's also interesting. I was wondering if they were going to you know, have some mention of Persephone since Demeter was there, but no. We see for a little bit Hera, for sure. Apollo, we've seen a little bit of. So it's just, you know, they're there. It's cast of characters. Oh, and how could I forget the very first person that we interact with that's outside of, like, Colette's general thing is Hercules. So it's fun. Hercules was, of course, doing his missions in order to, well, I think they had to change it a little bit for this, but that's okay. And it's interesting. I like it. There was also Colette's master passes away from, like, he essentially helped raise her because she lost her mother and father, and so she was raised by this apothecary who also trained her in doing the work, and he does pass away, and there's a whole storyline there about how he views himself versus how Collette and others have viewed him. I just like it. It's just really good. So there's a lot of it that's very traditional shoujo storytelling, so it's not like too outside the box, but I do like its blend of Greek mythology with this new storyline. And Colette's a pretty good character. She's kind of quirky and fun. I like that she's an apothecary, so she does have her own personality, her own personhood. She is actively working. I do appreciate that a lot. She's fun. I like her as a character. By the second part, too, she's also trying to learn midwifery because there's not enough midwives to help the women, so she's also learning how to do that. And I would just say, like, she's done amazing things for being only, like, 17, so props to Collette. This is really fun. I like it so far. I think there's at the very least 2 more double volumes coming out, at the very least. So I do look forward to continuing to read this series. I don't know if the other 2 are gonna be it, or if it's gonna keep going, or for how long it can go. But thus far, it's just cute, it's fun, I'm having a good time. I would recommend it to check out. And that is it for this video. Until next time, bye.